Gentlemen, today's mission is a free hunt in the vicinity of Babenhausen. Preferred targets are enemy rail assets. Good luck. Welcome back aboard my P-47. That's right, I evaded capture and survived, so we are indeed back at it. We're in the hospital for a while, but the war is still on. And our target for today is German transportation assets near Babenhausen, but that was all pretty much spelled out in the briefing, so let's get the aircraft configured and get out of here. I can take lots of time because I'm in the lead today, so we'll configure everything just the way I want. Set flaps 20, cowl flaps full open. They probably don't need to be full open, but you know. Oil cooler to neutral, prop full forward, mixture auto rich. And we're going to use boosted power on takeoff today because it's a relatively short field. So we will interconnect the turbocharger because we're going to use it. Set takeoff power, engage the boost. Okay, I'll let it have a little bit of extra speed on takeoff because we're fairly heavily loaded today. More about that in a moment. Gear up. Oh boy, is it ever turbulent today. Getting nudged around a little bit. So, flaps up. Shut the cowl flaps. Out of boost. And back to maximum continuous power. Okay, that's takeoff sorted out. I don't want to look away for too long because holy moly is it ever bumpy today. That may make strafing difficult. Well, we'll see about that when we get near our target. Anyway, looks like we will cross over this little forest belt here. We're probably pretty close to already. And then our sort of initial heading down to the ingress will be 158, passing over Frankfurt. Visual pilotage navigation should be pretty easy today, so I'm not too worried about that. Hang on, what was that heading again? 158. I should write that down. Anyway, we'll come right to 158. I'll probably climb up to close to the cloud layer today just to avoid any flak as we cross over the front line. I doglegged the route a little bit so that we would cross over it. It's not actually marked on the map at the front line. It is if you zoom out far enough. So that we would turn, basically, whoops, that got away from me a little bit, so that we would turn east and fly perpendicular to the front, spend minimal time over enemy territory, at risk from flak, since, well, lots of terrible things have happened to myself and my squadron mates due to anti-aircraft fire, so I'm trying to adapt my tactics to minimize the threat. Are any of my guys up in the air yet? I presume they will be soon enough. And I don't think I have too much more to say. Oh yeah, I was going to talk a bit about the loadout. We are carrying 6 rockets and 2 500-pound bombs today, plus a full load of 50 cal ammo. So we should be able to do great damage to any targets that we can find. So we shall proceed. Welcome back. It's probably under the nose now, but we're just about to pass over this airfield here, which marks the ingress point. The town of Babenhausen is over there, very obviously with that airfield co-located with it. So we're going to head that way across the front line, and now only 2 of my 3 other Thunderbolts have formed up, so I'm beginning to wonder if one of them might have had himself a takeoff accident. We'll have to see about that. I'm sure the debriefing and track files will tell all. I'm not entirely sure what these aircraft over here are. Admittedly, like, well, okay, it's obviously these ones. This map here is sort of... You could argue that it's showing the positions of friendly and some enemy aircraft, is sort of abstracting what sort of a ground controller might tell you based on his radar picture. I just saw a tracer. I'm not about to get waxed by flak again. Continuous power, please. And we'll just stay away from that. I will change sort of the heading and altitude, attitude every few seconds. Those look like bombers. I think B-26s is what those are. Okay, so that was over the immediate front line. There probably won't be flak guns in the middle of the forest because they won't have a very good field of fire. So maybe I will stay over the forest until we are close to the target. Now, what do we got down there? My waypoint suggests that there is probably a railway station near the center of town, because there is a railway that runs through it. Can't say I can properly spot that right now, but that's definitely what the town is. Okay, now I can see the tracks. Boy, it's hard to see when we're bouncing around like this. The turbulence is going to cause us some bother today. I think I can tell the guys to roll for ground targets on their own, I think is the most effective command to give. Do I see any viable railway targets down there? Possibly not just yet. We might have to hunt around for a bit, or maybe there's something I'm not seeing. There's always this German airfield down here as a secondary target. I mean, those fuel tanks are certainly vital, because Germany is desperately short of fuel at this point in the war. Yeah, I don't see any trains down there, and it looks like the station's already been knocked down. We do have a flak gun near the station. I might go after that, since flak suppression is generally a valid objective. Actually, I think I see smoke, possibly from a train on the move over there. Okay, well, that goes right up to the top of the priority list, I think. A guns are shooting, I think, at one of my Thunderbolts. Okay, I guess they're gonna do a bit of flak suppression. Well, please don't get yourselves killed, guys. The war's almost over. If I can be permitted a little bit of foresight. Okay, I think I will do singles on the bombs, try and hit the locomotive, and then maybe midway down the train, I'll drop down the length of the train. Vehicles? Presumably not the train. Well, you guys have fun with... God damn it, not again! Well, I'm still going to use my weapons on this train. I'll launch all my rockets and drop my bombs so that I'm at least destroying something that belongs to the enemy on this mission. And then, since I have that battle damage, what did it say it damaged? I think maybe the intercooler and the turbocharger? Well, the turbocharger is not super important because we're at such low altitude, although apparently, I think I remember hearing that there's some kind of non-trivial fire risk involving hits to the turbocharger. I might not be remembering that correctly, but... Damn it to hell! Okay, that clinches it. We're out of here. Stay over the forest belts, I think, and make our way to the south of the town to get away from the guns. I didn't even see where that fire was coming from that time. I'll try and stay low over the woods, I think, to stay out of their fields of fire. There is a bit of a trade-off with that, because if I'm hit again, it can make it more difficult to get out. Okay, you know what? You guys, return to base. I'm not just going to have you circling around getting shot up by the flak. Okay, I've issued that command with the key. Doesn't actually send a radio message. Because, yeah, I don't need you guys just getting chewed up when the one worthwhile target in the area has already been... Oh, no. It's already been hit. That's a Thunderbolt that's been hit. I think he's going down. Damn! Really feels like the Germans have brought in a lot more flak guns these last few missions. Okay, well, the one guy who's still with us is proceeding to base. Please don't fly straight and level while you're doing that. It's really quite unhelpful. Right, well, at this point I definitely know better than to let my guard down until we are well inside friendly territory, and even then... let's duck low just to break up fields of fire. I don't love flying this low, especially with all this turbulence. I am getting sort of knocked around quite a bit here. So maybe I'll give just a little bit of clearance. Starboard wing is shot up pretty good, but so far no engine damage, which is good. I can't really look at the map for very long because I'm flying so low. But I presume that basically a due west with maybe just a little bit of north will take us across the lines in relatively short order. So... this is causing me to maybe have a little bit of a rethink about tactics, because I've been at least ingressing and egressing at relatively high altitude in order to minimize the risk from flak, but I almost wonder if basically hedge hopping to break up lines of sight might be more effective. I'll maybe think about that going forward. I know that's what IL-2s did a lot. I know a little bit more about the ground attack tactics employed by IL-2s than P-47s. Seemed like P-47s were generally tootling around relatively low, but would also fly high enough to spot targets. I don't know. I'll give it a think before the next mission. Okay, I do need to just auto-level for a second so I can read the map here. We're over these woods somewhere, and... we proceed west just a little bit further. I'm fairly confident that we'll be across the lines. It's a bit of an interesting hole here. Ravine, whatever. Yeah, I think I'll take a heading of about 300, because that's roughly perpendicular to the front line in this particular location. Really keeping my eyes open for any guns. Okay, my one guy who made it seems to have diverted to the closest friendly field. You know, there might be an argument for me to do that since I've got battle damage. Okay, reasonably certain I'm over the lines here. I'll climb up a little bit just so that I can see. Okay, so we've got these two lakes over here. I think I remember those being these ones to the south of Frankfurt, maybe. And, yeah, Frankfurt Airfield is notionally available to us. I think that's where one of my, mates is landing. Actually, can't tell if I'm leaking any fuel. Don't appear to be. So, I probably could return to base. To be honest, whether I make a precautionary landing at Frankfurt in a real-world context might depend a little bit on the repair facilities available. Because if they can at least patch the bullet holes and then I could fly it back to our main base, that might be a logical thing to do. But in-game, it's kind of much of a muchness, so I think given that I do have a damaged aircraft, I will divert. Especially since the other guy's doing it anyway. So, yeah. It's right there, so we'll just land. Not entirely clear which runway, if any, is active. It appears to be pretty much just an open field, so I'll maybe actually check the windsock and just land into the wind this time. So, just level off again for a moment. Yeah, I think that's a fairly logical diversion, so we will do that. Start looking for the windsock. And probably power back a bit, because need to get rid of some speed in order to land. And let's just get an idea. Oh, there actually is a runway. In that case, I'll look out for the direction my other Thunderbolt is landing from. There he is. Yeah, not entirely clear what he's up to. I guess I'll put my lights on. Is he making a right downwind? Hard to say. I might not necessarily care as long as I can keep him in sight. Windsock. Where's my windsock? Truck parked in the middle of the runway. Okay, that's an obstacle that we'll need to deal with. I might just land in the field beside the runway, although there are trucks out there too. Yeesh. Yeah, I'm not sure this airfield is entirely operational just yet. It is quite close to the front line. Well, we're gonna do it anyway. So downwind check, mixture, full rich, prop, put it up to max continuous, gear and flaps 20, in turn onto base, try not to turn too steeply. I never did see a windsock, so let's see, are there any chimneys that might give us some idea? Oh, actually, I can tell which way the wind's coming from that smoke over there. In that case, we're actually going to land pretty much perpendicular to the runway, so I'll make this a bit of a janky base leg. The starboard wing is dragging quite a bit. We might need to keep some extra speed on. I might actually land with flaps 20, depending what kind of control authority I get. So, 150. Actually, no. I'll take full flap. He says I have to take my hand off throttle to extend the flaps, so we're too fast. Oh well, we seem to have plenty of field to play with here. I've got the stick about 2/3, now 3/4 of the way deflected left. Now all the way deflected left. Oh! Oh, shit! Accidentally pushed the landing gear button when I meant to push the flap button. Oh boy. Well, I think we got away with it. Well, I knackered the prop. I'm not very proud of how this went, to be honest. Probably should have just gone back to base. But, in any case, we've reached an airfield in friendly hands. I've bent the prop and possibly done considerable damage to the engine, so I'll have to do a little bit of explaining about that. Oh well. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but I will see you in the debriefing, and we'll see how things really went. Okay, debriefing time. Combat report. No air-to-air victory claims. And start the debrief. Okay, so this is pretty much the sum total of what happened. Was I destroyed a locomotive and much of the rest of the train, near as I can tell, and possibly some other things. But anyway, and yeah, one of our Thunderbolts did indeed go down, and the pilot was killed. He didn't get out, so. Trading a Thunderbolt and its pilot for a train is not something I'm terribly happy about, but like I said during the mission, adapting tactics to deal with flak is going to be probably very much an overriding concern for the remainder of the career. What we did today obviously didn't work, just circling around at, 3,000 feet like a bunch of flying pincushions. In retrospect, that was kind of a terrible idea. Although, admittedly, that was more what as much what the AI was doing as what I was doing. I mean, if I hadn't done it, they still would have. That's a difficult thing to deal with. Anyway, debrief completed. Narrative, why not? Destroyed a train. One Thunderbolt went down near the target. My aircraft was damaged, both by enemy action and by me on a bit of a cack-handed precautionary landing, but we'll ignore that. So, yeah. So, Second Lieutenant Thomas Haney has been killed in action. And, yeah, one of ours got a black gun. Great. Yeah, that aircraft lost in combat. Posthumously awarded Purple Heart. Yeah, not the most pleasant reading this time around. Anyway, that is it for the debriefing. I've got another train and maybe a few other ground objects under my belt. And I'll be back with the next mission reasonably soon. Toodles.